Welcome to the final instalment of the TW. In this instalment, I will be riding on Trafalgar Road from Trafalgar to Goulburn, and in about 5 minutes into the video I'll reach Goulburn, and so then I'll tell you a bit more about some of the places I go through in some parts of Goulburn that you may not be familiar with. Although if you've seen some of my other videos, the first one where I rode out to Trafalgar, you probably will be familiar with some parts of the road. At the end of the video there's a map that shows the route I went, and although I called this the teardrop ride, when I look at it now it's a pretty deformed teardrop. But anyway, so we're on the final leg of the ride back to home to Goulburn. We're on the road from Goulburn, Trafalgar to Goulburn, and as you can see at the moment, and for most of the length of this ride, the road, the Trafalgar to Goulburn road, is in pretty good condition. It's pretty well maintained. It has markings down the middle, and for the most part markings on the sides, and it has those guideposts on the side as well. And in many places now there is a good shoulder where you can stop and drop the stand. As I always say, make sure that it's safe to drop the stand, that the shoulder isn't too steep or doesn't fall away into a gully, and also make sure it's safe before you get off your bike. There's not a lot of traffic on this road, but when there is traffic it does tend to fly past and not have a lot of regard for expecting to see people on the side of the road. I was trying to come up with ideas of things to think about, to talk about, whether I talk about motorcycle things or something else, and I was stuck for a little while, but then the internet and life in general always provides you with something to talk about. And so the other night, or the other afternoon, I was watching YouTube videos, and I was watching Media Watch, which is a program that's normally on the ABC on Mondays evenings at about 9:15. The idea of this program is to highlight things that have happened in the media in the week, mainly where the presenter feels that the media might have overstepped its mark or made a mistake of some sort or other, or made an error of judgment, and to highlight those things. The item that the presenter, his name is Paul Barry, who's a journalist and writer, talked about this time was to do with a bloke called Michael Clarke. Michael Clarke is the former captain of the Australian cricket team. I believe he did some commentary for a little while, and now he's got a number of business ventures. The business venture that he was talking about that is relevant here is that he was appearing on the morning breakfast shows on the 3 commercial networks. And there's a fine line between what is considered advertising and what is considered to be editorial or news. If it's advertising, it's meant to be identified as advertising, whereas if it's news, you're meant to be able to determine that it's news. In this case, Michael Clarke was invited on as a guest to each of the programs to talk about the particular business and product that he was promoting. So in the opinion of the producers of each of the morning news programs on commercial TV, it was editorial, even though he mentioned the product that he was talking about 5 or 6 times in the space of his short interview. Now the product he was talking about is something called Swish. And I'm not going to go into providing you all the details of that, but I'll briefly tell you what Swish is. Apparently the idea of it is that you can request through their website and the app that you're expected to install, there's always an app on your phone, that you can receive a video from your favourite sports star, or you can pay for a video for a friend's birthday present, relative, something like that. So if you thought, well, I can't think what to give my son, daughter, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, as a present for their birthday or Christmas, whatever it is, you can pay to get a video from this website. What happens is you select your sports star and you answer some questions about what it is you want them to say, and they have a week to produce it, and then when they've produced it, they send you an email, or the website sends you an email where you can access this video, and the video is yours to keep forevermore, so you can carry it around on your phone or wherever it is and brag about it forever. In the process of talking about this product, and as I said, he mentioned it many times during the interview, he told the public that to get a video from Michael Clarke would cost about $20. And you might think, oh, $20, that's not too bad. spend that on a present for somebody, or spend more than that on a present for somebody. The presenter was a bit sceptical and did his research, and I was also a bit sceptical and did my research, and found out that in order to get a video from Michael Clark, it costs you $300. There's a scale, but I think the cheapest of all the sports stars that are listed on this website being something like $30, and the dearest ones being $300. There are prices between 40, 50, 100, 150, 200, 275, and so on, for, as I said, a video that's between 15 and 30 seconds. Now, this is not critical. I'm not having a go at Michael Clark for what he does for a living, or how he raises his money or pays his bills or whatever. What I'm again referring to is this truth in advertising on television. He's told people it costs you $20 to get a message from him, and it turns out it costs you $300. Also, there's the line between what is considered advertising and what is considered editorial. This was clearly advertising, only he hadn't paid and his company hadn't paid for a spot. So they were able to get away with it by saying it was news, but in the process, as I said, he mentioned his product many times. As I said, the commentary is more on, or as much as it is on what Michael Clark now does to pay his bills, as it is on what people are prepared to pay for. He made the comment that it's a bit like, it brings the sports fans and their sports people together and helps them connect with each other. And it's a bit like collecting, or as how he explained it, a bit like collecting autographs. And as the presenter of Media Watch, Paul Barry, pointed out, well, yes, with the exceptional difference that collecting autographs used to be free. In other words, you'd shove something in front of the sports star and a texter, and he'd sign it, and it didn't charge you for it. Whereas now, for you to get a personal message saying happy birthday, hope you have a great day, or wishing your daughter or son luck as they start their exams, or whatever, can cost you anywhere up to $300. Anyway, so that was the point of that. That was what it gave me to think about. Now, coming to Goulburn, and we've passed through an area. I've passed through an area that I meant to talk about in a bit more detail, called Kenmore. Kenmore was a psychiatric hospital that was in Goulburn. It was there for many, many years. Then there was a government report that said many of the people in psychiatric hospitals didn't need to be there, and so most of the people in those hospitals were released into the community or into group houses, and the hospital was sold. The government said, well, we don't want to operate a hospital here any longer, and we also don't want to own this building, so they sold it. The building's changed hands a number of times since they sold it, and it's now in the hands of a Chinese property developer who lives in China. For whatever reason, he is unable or unwilling to do anything with the property in terms of developing it, turning into apartments, whatever. He obviously can't demolish the building because it's a heritage listed building, so he would be stuck with the facades. He'd have to find a way to work with the innards of the building and remodel it. Anyhow, so the building has been left, and it has become quite dilapidated. There's been a lot of vandalism, a lot of people breaking in there and so on, and the government was very unhappy that the building was deteriorating and going to rack and ruin, and they imposed a heritage restoration order on the building and insisted that the Chinese businessman that owned the property restore or help to maintain the building and prevent it from deteriorating further. He, of course, is unwilling to do that as well, because it meant spending money without any return. And so the point of what I'm saying is that recently there was a fire there, and a large part of the building, one of the main buildings, was destroyed. Probably what will happen then is now that building will be declared unsafe and have to be demolished. Whether that then makes it easier for them to build something else on it, I don't know. But that is the issue with governments deciding, well, we don't want to own this building anymore, we don't want to operate it, we don't want to own it anymore, we'll sell it to someone else and we'll have some money that we can spend on something else. I don't know what they got for it when they sold it, but then they are in a difficult position of trying to enforce things like heritage orders on foreign owners, when even if courts in Australia make rulings and say you must do this or that, if the gentleman's based in China, he can say, well, you can't make me do it, and I'm not going to, and the building continues to deteriorate and fall into rack and ruin. From there we passed into Bradfordville, which is a suburb of Goulburn, and now I'm making my way towards my home. You might remember in one of my previous videos, the one before this one where I rode along Middle Arm Road, I said that Goulburn is sometimes just facetiously referred to as the city of roundabouts, and in the a bit over 2 kilometres of road of Mary's Mount Road, there are about 6 roundabouts. Now, if you watch this video, you can see from the moment I turned off the Terralga Road onto Middle Arm Road past Mulwaree High School, I've passed through already 2 roundabouts, and another one just coming up at this corner. And I think by the time I get to my house now, which will be another, from about the corner of Middle Arm Road, where the Mulwaree High School and the Police Academy are, to my house is about 4 kilometres. And I think in that distance, again, I passed through about 6 roundabouts. Now, that's not necessarily to say good, bad or indifferent, it's just to say that's the state of things in Goulburn. And obviously a roundabout is in some ways a much more efficient way of controlling the traffic than just give way signs where somebody has to sit and wait till traffic's clear. And although it may be more expensive to build, in the long run it's less expensive than traffic lights, because you never have to come and clean the lights or clean the lenses or replace the bulbs or pay for the electricity or anything like that. So working my way along Kinghorn Street and just turning here into Belmore Street. It's a quiet sort of residential part of Goulburn. This area is indicative of this. When I was saying earlier that this bike that I have now, the Kawasaki, is not the sort of bike you buy for riding around town. It's not cumbersome and awkward, but it is a heavy bike. So rides like this, especially if you're in stop-start situations, roundabouts and give way signs and so on, it takes some of the joy out of riding. But of course, once you're out on the open road in this bike, you get all the benefits and get the joy of riding it. This is Cowper Street joining Bradley Street. I think it's about the 4th roundabout. I often run some of these routes as well. I don't run around the roundabouts, of course, but I run the paths that are along the roads that I'm following here. You'll notice coming up on the right-hand side of this intersection is the new Goulburn Base Hospital that's been under construction since about 2019. It's expected to open in the middle of next year. I did edit a small piece of this video out. And once I got to my house, instead of you watching me try to duck walk my bike back into my backyard, I just edited that section out. Not really interesting watching me doing that, so I just cut it out. The video is going to come to an end in a few moments, so as I said at the end of the video is a map that shows where I went. I'll say thank you for you watching. If you have any feedback or comments on anything I've said, feel free to leave them in the Facebook, underneath the Facebook entry, or on YouTube if you've come across the video from there. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again shortly.